in a way that doesn't compare us or pit us against other people, but simply lives into the sharing of that. That's why I and again, I don't know that it was intentional in any way, but it's another one of those moments when the synchronicity of the gospel with the real world is apparent to me. We call this Sunday, or by the way, you can also say next Sunday, is Peace Sunday. How do you make peace? How do you make authentic peace with people? It's not by comparing yourself to somebody and finding either they are better or I am better. It's by working together and sharing authentically who we are. It's not by defeating somebody. It's by bringing actual peace. Peace is not established by force. Peace is established by love. Real peace. Real peace is established by sharing together and finding a way to work together, to live together. It's not about me beating you into submission or telling you what you're supposed to know or what you're supposed to think. It's about us exploring it together and finding that we understand each other. We often don't take that step because it's so much simpler. It's so much simpler to make peace by enforcing it. But that's not peace. That isn't peace. That's us going, thank goodness we put a stop to that violence. That's not the same thing. Here's two people who will not find peace with each other in this story. The Pharisee, because he thinks he's better. I'm better. Thank goodness I'm not like that guy. Just take a moment now and just think to yourself how many times in your life you've probably thought, well, thank goodness I'm not like that person. Or thank goodness I'm not having to go through that. Is that wrong? When you know somebody who is struggling with something and you think to yourself, I'm thankful that I'm not where they're at. I'm not experiencing what they're experiencing. It's not wrong to think that. You should be thankful that you're not. But your next step ought to be to find a way to help them not have to experience it too, or to share their load. That's what makes peace. That's what makes the wholeness of peace. When people are struggling and suffering, we reach out to them with compassion and grace. Excuse me. We reach out to them with compassion and grace. We don't tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. We reach out with compassion and grace. We share what we have. That's not, last week we talked about, it was World Food Day. We've had Thanksgiving. We've had lots of opportunities to talk about how we might practically do that. But it's also about us as people, too. It's all those things, but it's also about us as people. This is man, I'm covering a lot of ground here, but I'm just going to connect this to stewardship, too, by the way. But when we talk about stewardship in the church, and quite often the moment I say the word stewardship, you're going to think he's going to ask us for money. Or he's going to ask me to do something. Of course. Of course I am. Because why wouldn't you want to share the gift that you are? Why wouldn't you? That's what brings peace. That's what brings wholeness. Each of you, each of all of us, is a gift. Each of all of us has skills and things that we know that we can share with others. And when we do that and help to empower other people, That's an awesome thing. When we do that in a way that makes people feel like, well, they certainly know who they are, like the Pharisee, that's not an awesome thing. When we come to God and say, forgive me, I'm a sinner, and then go back next week to doing what we were doing before that caused us to want to say to God, forgive me, I'm a sinner, that also is not a good thing either. You can't just go to, I'm not picking on anybody, but you can't just go to confession on Saturday and then go back to doing what you were doing the rest of the week before. That's not how it works. When we come to God and we ask for forgiveness, have mercy on me, a sinner. God's mercy is what inspires us to then live into God's love. That's what brings wholeness. That's what makes us justified with God. It's not just about the changing behavior. It's about being aware of who we are and sharing that with others. It's not about being aware of who we are and then seeing that as a way to set us apart from others. It's about seeing who we are and finding that's the way we connect. That's the way we engage each other. That's the way we share who we are. And then we all get to share in the peace of God.